Welcome to your Conscious Choices for Wellness podcast, hosted by B. Crutelli. This is a space for everyone to learn anything and everything related to healthy healing, including naturopathic medicine, music, dance, yoga, meditation, eco-fashion, mothering, and organic lifestyle choices. Topics for expanding universal consciousness. Come join me weekly as we delve in and begin this journey, sharing valuable content gathered over the past 3 decades, helping to support a healthier and more sustainable future for all.
Oh my gosh, so I guess I wasn't recording. I need to get better at this. Oh my goodness. Okay, here we go. Hello and welcome. Welcome, beautiful, lovely souls. Make sure that you're staying tuned till the end because every podcast I love to share tips on ways to be healthier. It may be directly related to what I'm discussing that day, but sometimes if I'm a little, I don't want to say off topic because I always talk about something that has to do with wellness, but if I'm not specifically talking about something that has to do with our bodies, if it has to do with like planetary health, maybe even talking about what's something that's going on in the world, I will always make sure that I'm leaving tips on the latest and greatest supplement to take or some food that will help you in some way. And I want you to know that. So yes, indeed, I suppose that if I'm writing today, and I love writing, I'm writing a book right now. I have always loved to write, and I guess didn't have the time to, raising my kids for so many years, but now I've decided that I'm going to be a writer. And it's almost like hard to say because I'm a writer, and maybe I'm not officially a writer until I've published my first book. Then I can be official. I don't know, but I honestly don't even think that's true because I think you either love to write or you don't. And since I started my Substack, I realized that I love writing and I'm going to write every week. And I'm also working on my book, which is a separate project. But I also love to share stories and wellness insights. So then, well, of course, I would write a post on the change of being a woman in this evolutionary time of living. When I turned 40, I was entering a time in life that felt different for the first time in my adult years. Not old, no, just a sense of being free. Becoming a mother at age 21, then again at 23, then again at 26, and again at 34 was my life as I knew it for those 20 years before entering into quote unquote midlife, which I guess is considered your 40s and into your 50s. So, which to me was an awesome experience these times, both raising kids and entering midlife. I was having the time of my life, really. I mean, those were like my greatest years. My 20s, my 30s, my 40s. I'd say like my 30s and my 40s were better in some ways than my 20s. And I know a lot of women, maybe and men too, really do say that, like your 30s are better than your 20s, you know. So for my kids, they're in their 20s. I have a 17-year-old's my youngest, but my oldest is 30 now. So, but his, wife and his siblings are still in their 20s, and I think a lot of his friends are too. So he's probably feeling like he's more in his 20s, but he did hit the 3-0. So, yeah, they've got a lot of good years that they have coming to them, and I'm very excited for them. And I loved my 30s, and I really loved my 40s. So I had always dreamed that since I had my kids when I was young, that I would be doing all the things that most do in their 20s and 30s when I got to be in my 40s. Well, this was true in some ways, but not in all. Kids are a blessing. They are a huge responsibility, one in which I know I could have done better if I knew any better. Another story to be told. But I know that I did do a pretty awesome job, because I was with my kids a lot. Their dad worked more than I did out of the home. So I was pretty involved, in their lives. I didn't have help. I didn't have a nanny. I didn't have, family around much. And so I was doing a lot of the one-on-one stuff with the kids, even though it wasn't a lot of one-on-one, because there were 3 of them, and then it got to be 4 of them in my mid-30s. But in my 20s, I had like 3 little kids, and so it was pretty hard to have like one-on-one time with them. So in my 40s, I was still very fertile. I also was beginning my evolutionary transformation out of maidenhood. That was over 10 years ago now. I had loads of fun in my 40s. I dated for the first time since my teens. Yes, I got to finally go on dates and be in the dating scene for a minute in my 40s. That was fun. So now that I'm officially in my menopausal years, quote unquote, and holy fuck, it's so real. Time to really nurture and nourish, or else suffering is up next. Already in the past 5 years or so, since my mid-40s, I felt chronic aches set in like never before. I used to joke and say it was due to having all my kids who sucked the chi right out of me. No, not really though, but maybe a bit. There is a sacrificial piece of motherhood. Now I realize much of the pain is from all my 31 moves over the past 31 years and counting. Chronically moving households equals chronic body aches. Of course, it will in time. Combined with surging hormonal fluxes, aka the change, will leave a woman feeling broken, to put it gently. This is why I choose to be as healthy as possible and to now help others with their chronic pain. Anyways, all the hype of the change that inevitably happens to all women, just like the years of moon cycles, is effing real. Every soul is different, of course. In when and how this process unfolds, I literally went through, no joke, almost a decade of this change unfolding. I didn't know what was going to happen next. Then one day, I arrived to this new place on Earth. This is a new freedom, I suppose, although this freedom doesn't come for free. Exchange of blood for a new look, both inner and outer appearances are transformed. The only conscious way is loving acceptance, embracement of your new self. The next archetype of womanness, leaving behind our sometimes hidden cycles from the past. Yeah, asking self how she wants to show up, being urged by society to appear younger, fight the change that's naturally occurring by dyeing my hair, getting facelifts, tummy tucks, or Botox. No judgment here. We all have freedom to do whatever we choose. Recently, I've struggled with the latter for sure. These emotions are natural in the world we live in. Conditioning is real. It's all just hormones anywho, running the show per usual. So, how can we handle this time in a lovingly sustainable fashion? All women will experience their change differently. uniquely special to each. Hot flashes are a major symptom, though, and can be bothersome for many. So, understanding that this process is natural, not a disease or an ailment, is crucial for embracing what is happening, similar to embracing your monthly menstruation cycles. Changes now are the body's way of transforming to another time in life. Letting go of all that we know from decades of noontime rituals. Entering into a new you can be scary. I personally felt ready to release the blood for good, though at the same time feeling a bit of sadness of what was familiar. It's almost like letting go of a relationship, right? It's like part of you. And relationships, intimate relationships become part of you. And when you have, your moon cycle and it comes every month, I mean, that's for years and years and years. It's like, I don't even know how many cycles. I mean, we're all different, but I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of rituals if you do that, which you should. If you don't, it's very, very intimate, and it's a type of giving yourself self-love, slowing down during that time. That's a whole nother thing I actually really didn't write about, was how in menopause it's supposed to be a time for reflection and a time for like slowing down, and this change is like, it's supposed to come at a time when we're supposed to slow the fuck down. But many women in our culture, we're not doing that. We're like deep in our careers, or for me, I'm just getting my career growing because I did things differently. I didn't start my career in my 20s and my 30s. I've had, different things that I did career-wise, especially in my 30s and my 40s, but I decided to do something different in my 50s. And I can tell you another thing that I actually didn't write about in my blog, but that is coming to me, that is super real, is when you go through this change, you do become a different woman. You do become a different person. When I say women, it's true, but I'm also just talking to everybody as a whole, because I know that men go through a change too, and even just the aging process, and when we change into different times in our life, we become different. We're constantly evolving. And what I noticed is that I really wanted to be more creative. Like when I hit 50, that's what I'm saying. When I hit 40, I didn't really feel much of a change, right? I was still bleeding. I was starting to go into perimenopause in my 40s, and I was feeling my cycles change and my hormones change. But when I hit 50, I was like, whoa. Like, that's when I felt older, which wasn't the best. My body felt older, my skin felt older, just a lot of things felt older, but also my inner self, my mind felt different. I just felt like I want to do whatever the fuck I want. Like, I'm older now. Like, I've lived well over half my life, because I know that I'm not going to live till I'm 100. Like, I'd be surprised if I lived till I was 80, honestly. But I'm like, I don't have a lot of my life left, and we all don't really know how much life we have left, because anything can happen, right? But something in me, like when you hit 50, something in you just like changes. Like you're like, I want to live my life how I want to live my life. And I want to do whatever the fuck I want. I want to be creative, like I've never been before. And, maybe, for me too, it was just feeling more freed up. Like I felt like 10 years ago I was going to be more freed up. But for me, it happened differently, because I ended up having a child in my mid-30s. So I, prolonged my maidenhood and my motherhood longer, which was great, but it kind of kept me younger in some ways. So now I'm really feeling like, oh, like this breath of fresh air, like I really want to do these other things that I didn't get to do, that like who I am, my authentic self and my purpose and why I'm here. Now I get to like spread my wings and I get to like do these things of who I am and express who I am and write about things I want to write about and share, and like just it's just exciting. It's really an exciting time, even though it comes with a price of being this age physically. It also is very freeing and very exciting to be in this time of life. And then on top of it, with everything that's happening in the world, it's like, oh, holy fuck, like, where are we? What the hell is happening, right? And there's just so much change happening. And yeah, I'm going to keep talking about that because we really need to stay connected, y'all. And we're in a very, very intense time right now. And I'm not going to just, rant about how negative it is, because we need to embrace the positiveness about it. So yeah, it's definitely a process to let go of part of you with grace. Grateful for the time spent and the decade of transformation, as some will reveal to be sudden. The suddenness happening for some women, where they just stop bleeding one day and they go through their change differently. We're all so different. Mine was like more gradual, and now I know that I'm actually officially in menopause, which is why I realized I should write about this and talk about it, because it's been 2 years now, exactly 2 years this July, since my last moon cycle. And technically, or officially, or whatever the fuck you want to say, menopause is menopause after 1 year. Although some women, I've heard, it's not as common, but it's more rare that after that year, maybe within a year and a half or even 2 years, there might be another cycle might come in. So if you're going through this now or want to be prepared, let's go over some key factors for nourishing your body during this inevitable journey in life. What has helped me over the past decade, since my 40s, was and still to this day is always limiting sugar when I can. Something we all need to practice more and remember when we need more strength. Because sugar is really just not good for you. And I'm sure you've heard this, and if you love it, or if you're somebody that really has struggles with not eating it at all, just know that time is going by really fast. And so if you can just have like 1 day a week that you treat yourself, literally, and you have something to look forward to, like on a certain day, like I'm going to have that treat that I know is not the best for me. And I'm telling you, the less that you do it, the more you will see that it affects you too. Because if you do that, that's great, right? Because you're not doing it every day, and it's going to be way worse for you if you do it every day. But then you'll notice maybe when you do it that day a week, that maybe see how you feel afterwards. And then you'll be like, oh, yeah, it was probably because I ate that sugary treat, and now I don't feel so good. And I'm just saying, just experiment with it. Raw, unfiltered honey in small amounts is okay though, and can be slightly helpful for adding suppleness inside and out. And I want to say it's okay, because it's okay, but it's not okay if you're not supposed to be having any sugar. Like if you're somebody that's diabetic, or if you are struggling with Candida albicans, over yeast growth in the body, those are things that you really do want to just cut the sugar, especially if you need to decrease the Candida in your body and be on a Candida diet for 3 months. Some people a month can be helpful, but sometimes you got to do it for 3 months. You really got to not cheat and not have any honey or maple syrup or any kind of sugar. So that's another topic, but other than that, beware of processed cane sugars always on a daily. Read labels, alternating with monk fruit, which will not raise your blood sugar. And in my opinion, monk fruit is the best alternative. It tastes the best. It's coming from a fruit. It's pretty much zero glycemic index. It's it's the best alternative out there if you're, making your own sugary sweets at home and you need a substitute, and you don't have to use as much of it, cup to cup. Sometimes when we are craving sweets in life, it could be a sign of needing more affection, self-love, or an imbalance in the gut that needs attention. In the show notes, I will have a link to my free self-love ebook that I made recently. And this sweet little ebook that I put together in Canva a few months back is something I'm going to start sharing more. It just has free things that you can do to give yourself self-love on a daily, ways to build your self-love. And we need to remember that when we show ourselves love first, then we have more love to give the world. And working on our self-love will help us to feel better and to be a brighter light for others around us. Some of the best supplements that have brought me into hormonal balance are Maca root, choosing the right phenotype for female hormones. I said phenotype for female hormones. That sounded a little confusing, though, and the most high quality brands will help. And always choose organic from Peru. Chase tree berry or vitex and shatavari are two herbs that are really, really good for female hormones, balancing the estrogen and the progesterone out and nourishing your female hormones. And these can be used anytime. They can be used, in your teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. These are herbs that just nourish and balance the female hormonal system. Just think of it that way. One may work better than the other. You don't necessarily need to use both, but chase tree berry, which is also known as vitex, and shatavari, which is an Ayurvedic herb. And many superfoods added into my daily diet to boost my vitality have also helped. Seaweed. This is the superfood I am mentioning. Seaweed is an excellent source of nutrition, adding natural iodine to support your thyroid gland, as well as all three top antioxidants, A, C, and E, and many other essential minerals. Our thyroid gland is involved in processing our stress hormones, regulating our bodily temperature. So then, of course, it's helping with the hot flashes, right? It helps balance breathing, heart rate, metabolism, menstrual cycles, blood pressure, and hence assisting in modulating mood support. No wonder this superfood does so much for our health. Here's a fun fact. Thinner women, myself included, experience more rapid changes, thus more intense hot flashes. This is something I just recently found out, and I was like, okay, all right. This makes sense because fat cells, again, moderate hormonal levels, slowing the rapid rise of FSH, which is our follicle stimulating hormone, and LH, which is the luteinizing hormone. These are two key hormones that play roles in our cycles that we've had our entire lives. So if we have healthy fat cells, then these hormones are going to be healthier, and the release of them and how they're released and how they're made is going to help your hormone levels and help you have more balanced cycles, more balanced mood. And both of these are gonadotropins, which are hormones produced by the pituitary gland that play crucial roles in sexual development and reproduction. So if you're thinner, you are not going to have as many fat cells storing as much of these hormones. Also, other hormones are also stored in fat. So my mother experienced much milder symptoms, she says, of hot flashes. I remember her saying this. I don't remember her ever complaining of hot flashes. And even when I started experiencing them, she would tell me she didn't really have very many. And she had more body fat. Go figure. She also had only one pregnancy and had a hysterectomy in her late 30s. Now, if you prefer non-herbal support, then increasing your intake of vitamin E with selenium has been well documented with a strong reputation as a phytonutrient and antioxidant support in relieving hot flushes. I said flushes that time. Flushes, it's all the same. Works best taken with fatty food, as vitamin E is fat-soluble. A fat-soluble vitamin. A coworker once suggested a homeopathic remedy, lachesis, which is actually snake venom. Yes. Homeopathy abides by the principle that like cures like in very minute diluted doses. And this type of remedy works on the spot for some souls, so give it a try. I will put a link to the pellets from boron in my show notes as well. Homeopathy is very interesting. It's made out of, plants, but also the remedies are made out of many different substances. In this case, snake venom. Also, increasing or incorporating essential fats into your daily diet is a must. Beware, though, that EFAs from fish can contain toxins, so if not third-party tested for contaminants. Avoiding spicy, acidic, or hot food, hot exercise, hot atmospheres, stress, processed sugar, bad fats, caffeine, alcohol, synthetic fabrics, and agro situations. You get my drift. These are things to try to avoid, to minimize not just hot flashes, but just minimizing any kind of negative type hormonal symptoms. If you're younger, these things will also help you feel better and not aggravate your hormones. Some pro tips are vitamin B9 or folate, folic acid, has been linked to reducing the severity and frequency of hot flashes. I suggest taking a well-balanced liposomal B complex, as Bs tend to work together, and B12 and B6 are also very helpful. Wearing loose, breathable fabrics like silk, tencel, linen, and hemp. I did not mention cotton because cotton is very absorbable, because cotton absorbs moisture. So if you did have a sweat, the cotton would get very wet and it wouldn't dry very quickly. So I didn't mention cotton here, but of course cotton, and I advocate organic cotton, is very breathable and very comfortable fabric, of course, but maybe not the best thing to be wearing if you're experiencing a lot of sweats, or even night sweats. If you're sleeping with cotton sheets, I would definitely make sure that your sheets are breathable if you are having night sweats. Sleeping on a natural mattress with natural fabric bedding is very important. Silk, tencel, linen, hemp, these are all great fabrics to have incorporating into your bedding, even wool. Be prepared with fans and cool water nearby. And I'm very grateful for the beautiful referenced book, Menopausal Years, The Wise Woman Way by Susan Weed, Alternative Approaches for Women 30 to 90, that I have turned to many times when needing some reminders for more insights. Check it out for endless tips and try and see what works for you. I will put a link in the show notes for that. I've always thought that it's interesting that she puts 30 to 90. It's like there must be some women in their 30s or maybe even in their young 30s that started going into perimenopause early, and then maybe there's been women in their 80s that were still experiencing some hormonal change, symptoms. Definitely not bleeding. I don't think there's many women bleeding in their, I don't want to say 50s. I think there's some in their 50s, but usually by the time you're in your 50s, 60s, and beyond, you're not going to be having your moon cycle anymore, but you can still experience some kind of hormonal changes. Maybe they're slowly, leaving the body. But I don't know. It's just like, okay, well, she put 30 to 90. Like, we're not all gone by the age of 90, right? And we're experiencing, hormones and female stuff happening when we're 20. So I don't know. Maybe it talks about it in the book, but I just thought that was interesting that it says that. So anyways, going through the change, and the heat goes on and on to this day. I put that at the end of my blog because I remember the song, the beat goes on, and the beat goes on and on. I don't remember who sings that song. I have to look it up. I'm going to try to put it at the end of this podcast. The beat goes on, and the heat goes on, because even though my cycles are gone, I believe they're gone forever, the heat is still going on to this day. So thank you so much for being on this journey with me today. I really do love and appreciate each and every one of you. And I wish I could tell you what next week's going to be about. I just honestly just have it spontaneously come to me. Like Friday, I just start kind of intuitively, listening to what I want to write about over the weekend and then speak about in the podcast. So I don't plan things out like that. I do have ideas that I've written down, but I don't have a schedule. So I just like to have it be natural, come natural. And I also want to take a moment to just pause with all of you, because the more that we can come into silence and breathe, pay attention to our breath, maybe say a prayer for the world, and do this together, collectively, the more this world will become a better place. So let's just stay in this moment together for just one more minute, paying attention to your breath, taking a deep breath in now through your nose. Let that breath go all the way down, inhaling all the way down to your solar plexus. Taking another breath in and holding it down all the way into your root chakra, all the way at the base of your spine, and hold. Holding for 2 to 4 seconds, and then slowly releasing all the air out, exhaling out everything you don't need, that doesn't serve you, all the negativity. Just blow it out, let go of it, release it. Inhaling again for a count of 6 to 8. Inhale, deep down, inhale, and hold. 2 to 4 seconds, and then release. Slowly release and let go. Let go of all that doesn't serve you, all that doesn't matter. Let go. Inhaling slowly and exhaling. And doing this anytime you feel stress, anytime your mind is trying to take over, pausing and inhaling and exhaling. That is the only way. I'm going to say that is the only fucking way that you can really let go of the mind, is by paying attention to your breath, because we're all forgetting our breath. We're not paying attention to it. We're not even breathing properly anymore because we don't pay attention to our breath enough. So when we can be silent, when we can pause, even just for a minute, make that minute become 5 minutes. Make that 5 minutes become 10 or 20 minutes sometimes. But any time we can slow down and pay attention to our breath and our breathing, we are being in the present moment. We are letting go of the brain. And if we sit with it long enough, then the mind might come back in and thoughts may come back in, but just going back to the breath and focusing on your breath will release your mind. And it's miraculous. Give it a try, because the less we can be in our mind and the more we can be in our hearts and one with God, one with the universe, one with our breath, that is our connection, right? When we stop breathing, we're not here on this planet anymore. Right? When we're not breathing anymore, we've left. We are one with the universe again. We are free. So when we are not breathing, when we're not paying attention to our breath, that is when we are in the mind, when we are in this world, when we are in Babylon. And some of it, for a lot of us, it's way too fucking much. It's too much to handle, because a lot of our thoughts are not positive thoughts. They're things we don't even need to be thinking about. They're things that are bringing us stress and that are making our bodies degrade. And these thoughts are bringing emotions that are toxic to our souls and that are breaking us down. So let's breathe together. Let's remember to pause, to be in silence, to connect. Thank you. I just wanted to say that, and namaste to all of you.
Thank you all so very much for listening today. I genuinely hope that you learned something, and I invite you to join me each week so you never miss a conscious wellness beat. This podcast holds a special place in my heart dedicated to my evolution here, my passionate mission to spread more consciousness for the much needed wellness on Earth. Come join me as a guest as well. Let's collaborate, making change for future generations.